Ridiculous, isn't it? 10 minutes ago it was raining. The sky looked like it came out of Mordor. Yeah, I was out watering my bonsai earlier because we haven't had any rain for a while now. And with the sun on them, they're starting to get dry. So I was out watering. 2 butterflies in the garden, first 2 of the year. You can look them up, because obviously only people in England might know what they are. But I had a speckled wood and an orange tip. Speckled woods have 3 or 4 broods a year, so they can be seen any time of year, basically. Orange tips are early spring butterflies, and then no more. So that's that. And what I'm going to do today is not a Sunday chat as such, but I thought I'm going to look at everything. So we're going to look at all the orchids basically and have a quick chat as we go round, because in amongst looking is identifying some work that will come up over the next week or 2. So it gives me something to film, which is good, and anything like that takes my mind off things. So we'll get this out of the way to start so that we can get in this corner. And we can do this side first. Now over here we've got quite a bit that's not growing. In fact, most of it isn't doing very well at all. This is the Dendrobium nobile that is actually growing. This one's still got some greenery on it, but no sign of life at the base. That's an Oncidium twinkle that is probably going to fail. This is probably not going to grow. This is probably not going to grow. I can't even remember what they are. This is a Miltonia, and it's got a new growth there on that bulb and a new growth there on that bulb. So it's coming into growth. Now if it can push some roots out, then that might recover. But you know, I mean, it's a pretty poor looking effort. And this is another Miltonia. This is Flavescens that Insa organised for me. It has pushed up a little tiny new growth. It started to produce some roots and then stopped. This plant has not grown a root since I got it. It just will not grow roots. Consequently, everything shrivels and eventually fails. We shall see. Right, over here, at the back there, that big plant, that's Catatanti. And that's the one I'm watering. I've got 2, they're very similar, and I've decided that one's not getting any water. I'm going to starve it and see if that will produce a spike. I get bullying tactics. And then these round here are my Prosthetias. Got 3 here. That's the only. Is that the only species? No, that is a species. Pachycephalum, that one is, and also radiata. And then in the middle there is a black hair type Dendrobium hybrid. It's got no ID. The blooms are very similar to Infundibulum, and it grows in a similar manner. Has very sturdy fat canes on it, like this one over here. These are the 2 latest canes. It's bloomed on all of the canes it's produced for a while now. It will produce blooms on those canes when it gets round to it. And then down here we've got Paphiopedilum here. I've got a feeling that one might need a repot. And then over here the rest of the Paphs and this Masdevallia insignia. Now that's recently been potted up, so that won't need touching. I've got a feeling there are 2 Paphiopedilums still on the list to repot. The Restrepias that I put on mounts, miserable failure, that's died. This one, I'm not sure it's actually dead because it's still got some green on it, but it's certainly not growing. And these are the Kikis that I mounted. They seem to be doing okay. So that's that. Then over here we've got most of the ones in this tray are Oncidium type rescues, but when I watered them a few days ago, there's several of them now have got reasonable roots. They're starting to grow root systems, and if they can get root systems going, I mean, this one's produced a nice new growth. That's got roots underneath it. That one up the back there's got new growths. That's got roots. So some of these are starting to recover. This has got a nice strong new growth, again with roots. That hasn't. And then going up into the corner there, that is my only Cattleya. It's the one with lots of red in it, and it's not a happy plant. Doesn't like the cold in the winter. It slows it down to a standstill. It stalls, and then it takes half of the growing season to start growing again, and then as soon as it gets going it stalls again because it's winter. Right up in the corner there is my Laelia anceps. That has started to produce some roots and should produce a new growth soon, but it isn't yet. That's my, what does it say, because I've forgotten, epidendrum, and its only sign of hope is this growth here, which is not actively growing. It's not putting on any growth as such. It's got no roots virtually apart from these couple. It's not doing well at all. It's probably going to fail. This is the other Cattitanti that I'm not watering. This hasn't had any water for over a month. It's not shriveling yet, so it's surviving on what it's got. Let's see if it will bloom. Let's see if it can produce a spike. I had a bit of advice from somebody, not specifically about this one, but about Oncidium, you know, more complex hybrids in particular, that they like to be stressed. Well, they don't like to be stressed. If they're not stressed, they grow lots of greenery and nice bulbs and nice roots, and that's all they ever do. So you put them under stress and they think, goodness me, if I don't produce some flowers, I can't perpetuate my species or my individuality. What else have we got up here? There's a Racia in here, that's Vericosa. That's got a nice new growth coming on it. Pot full of roots on that one. This is my only Vandal that's left, and this is actually growing, but I don't think it's ever going to do well because, again, it can't cope with the winter. It's too cold. And again, it ticks over in the winter now, since it got potted like this. Hydrates a bit better. And it ticks over, and then it picks up a little bit in the warmer weather. Now down here, this is a Latoria type dendrobium that grows a new cane once a year. Big one with nice leaves and has yet to bloom. I don't want it, but I can't get anybody to take it off of me because of the state it looks a right state. I may end up just throwing it away. It will not bloom. I've tried brighter light, I've tried less light, I've tried all sorts with it, and it grows a perfectly good cane every year with nice leaves, 3 leaves each time. It has a little thing in the middle that looks like it's going to bloom, and it never does. Then up the top there are 2 zygopetalums. One of them's Louisendorf and one of them's a hybrid. I forget which one's which. They are both producing a new growth. They both have some roots, but I wouldn't say they're good root systems. This one, however, this is a species. This is Crinitum. There's too many I's and N's in there. This is growing incredibly well. This has got a pot full of roots, and the latest 2 growths are pushing on nicely, and that does look incredibly like that is an aphid infestation. So let's get that out now. That's quite a bad one. They've managed to get a hold there while I wasn't looking. That needs a spray, not just wipe them off, that needs a spray. Yeah, they're all over this new growth, quite bad. So we'll deal with that before we put it back. That's what I always say with pests, deal with them when you see them. Now on here obviously is Cymbidiums. There's not many left in bloom nowadays, but there are still some in bloom. Let's just pop this back where it goes. Why won't that move? Come on. Right, so there we go. Yeah, we've still got the Calinite and Tiger Tail, they're both looking okay. I've got a Orchid Society meeting coming up this coming Saturday, and it's a Cymbidium event. I haven't had the full details of what this event actually consists of. I'm responsible for a bit of it. I'm responsible for setting up all of our kit to actually show a video from the Mather's website. I've got permission, specifically asked permission, and I've been given permission to display it at our meeting, not copy or download. So we will do just that. And it's basically Jim Durrant repotting and discussing repotting Cymbidiums. It's a good video, very good video. If you want to get to their website and have a look, it's one worth watching if you're thinking of repotting a Cymbidium. Just to show how the professionals do it. And I mean professional, somebody that's been hybridizing and working in a Cymbidium environment for probably 40-50 years now. You might be able to see the butterfly. Too late, gone. They don't hang around, do they? And then this is the last of Jamie Red, that's the last spike, and then that'll be gone. So Cymbidiums, generally speaking, they're not doing bad. Right, coming over here. We've got a right assortment up here of good, bad and ugly. The top right hand two there, the very right hand corner is my Jenkinsii. Next to it is Lindleyi. They are incredibly similar in growth habits and care. I mean, at one point they were classed as a variety of the same species, but they got separated out. Jenkinsii is like a smaller version, quite honestly, but it does have a slightly different growth habit. The bulbs, canes, tend to try and lie flat, whereas on Lindleyi they grow out from whatever point they're contacted. Now this one here is Trigonopus, and it's doing something, but I'm not sure that's going to work. It's not a healthy plant. This one, I've forgotten what it's called. I'm not getting it down. It still hasn't come back. Oh look, he lied. It still hasn't come back into growth. There's a tiny little nodule on this big cane. There's a tiny little nodule showing at the base, so maybe it is coming back into growth. About flipping time too. Supposed to do that middle of March, not April. This is another Prosthesia species that's starting to pick up now. There's a couple of bits at the back rotted, so I just took them off. That is my very sad Aphyllum that's showing no signs of life at the base of the plant, and if it doesn't get some decent canes going, then it's going to get thrown out, because it's 2 years now, it just won't grow. This one down here, I've forgotten what it's called, but it's growing okay. It's got 3 canes. This is the one that got nibbled, and it does have growth and things going on at the base, so that's okay. And then this one is this is my only mount that I have to water every day. It's effectively bare rooted and it dries fast, so that needs water every single day. You can see what it's called, JK Sooth. You can look it up if you want to. But it's growing okay, and it's pushing out a new growth down here, and it's got some new roots coming, so it's coming back into growth. That's doing more like what dendrobiums ought to be doing this time of year, but mine isn't. Right, Pleones down here. I put this one down here and took it off the display bench because the blooms were fading and they've lasted an extra couple of days. But most of these have flowered and they're now starting to produce their leaves, apart from this one here. This one's only just coming into growth, so we may still get a bloom on that one, and I'll have to mark that in my notes that that's a very late bloomer. And also, what are these doing in the brightest light position? It just dawned on me now. These are forest dwellers. Forest floor dwellers, you don't live in the brightest position. Where can I put them? They can come over here. If I move that Brassica hybrid, in fact, if I move that right to the back and then put the Peonies in front of it, then they've got the shade. So we will get those moved in a minute. Right, now up here we've got an assortment. This, the only reason I keep it is because it's not mine, it's Hannah's. It's actually Dendrobium, come on. It's the one everybody's got, highly fragrant, Kingianum cross. Whatever it is, it's got a tag on it. Berry odour, what a memory. It just won't grow properly. It just doesn't get going. Now what I might do is take this section of the plant off, the one that's got all the roots, and just pot it up separately and see if that will kick off. And then this is speciosum or spectabile. Again, I get those two muddled up. And this won't grow. This is a warm grower. Not intermediate, this is a warm grower, so that's never going to do well here. And I'm thinking of dumping those two. And then in this corner here are my nobile types. This is my Sweet Pinky Momoko that has the incredibly huge blooms, or in this case bloom, singular, one bloom this time round, one. Useless object. My prima donna's starting to go now, unfortunately, but it's got canes that haven't bloomed yet, 2 of them, and it's got new growth starting at the base as well, so that'll come on. It's got another cane here that hasn't bloomed, but it's a mini one. So that's the Noblies. Paphiopedilum Blackjack, that needs a repot. I'm not sure it'll get a full repot. It might actually get potted on. Depends how I feel when I take it out of the pot. The thing is, it has got a pot full of roots. It is root bound basically, but those roots are all old now. So I'm thinking it might need some fresh media. And then that's my infundibulum up there. It's got 1 bloom left at the moment. And it's got a bud that's about to open up the top there. It's probably got some more buds lurking around. They tend to creep up on you on that plant, but that should be starting a new growth soon. It hasn't yet, because the latest cane is the one with the bud on the top. Actually there's 2 buds, there's one set down, second leaf down, lying along top on the top there. That's that. Then up the back there are the 2 Bratonia Shelob Maries. Nothing much going on. Those have come into growth. They're producing new growth. They're okay. They're doing all right. This is the 2 Oncidiums that we looked at recently. Same plant. That's the Sabine Mayer, pushing on spikes with buds nicely. These are the last 2 Peonies with blooms on, although this one's decided to go. This one's only just opened, so we should get a week, or well, we should get 2 weeks at least, but I keep saying that and don't necessarily get it. And I think it's a little warm in here for them to last their full length that they could do if they could be kept a lot cooler. If I could keep my Peonies down at sort of 7, 8, 9 degrees for their blooming period, we get a lot more out of them. But anyway, and the Miltoniopsis, which it hasn't got a name on it, but lots of people think it's Princess Diana. Maybe. Then down the bottom here, those are miserable Oncidiums, Derek's plants, and some Restrepias in one of my trays with the wet matting. And then down here are some more rescue Oncidiums. Most of the Oncidiums you see in here come into the rescue category, and I'm thinking that those that are in that category, within a month or 2, if I don't see sensible activity going on, they're going in the bin, because I'm getting fed up with looking after them, and I'm fed up with them taking up space. You know, this is what an Oncidium should be doing. Big fat bulbs like that. Nice big new growth coming. Huge big pot full of roots. That's my Sarcochilus. Nice spike, but only the one. Oh, bending over. This is the new Psychopsis that was mounted not too long ago. It's got 2 spikes on it, which I'm keeping a close eye on, because if that plant is accepting the environment and starting to progress, then these buds will start to swell. If they stall and the spikes fade, then the plant's going to fail. So it's going to be probably that spike with the bud on that will be the telltale sign. This is my Dendrobium hercoglossum that INSA organised for me. That's a job in hand, because that it's coming out of the pot to then see what happens. When I get the pot off, I'm going to see how much of this coconut husk falls away, because it looks pretty rotten to me, and at the moment the roots can't get out, and I'm thinking that it's coming into growth. You know, it is, well, it's actively in growth through the winter, actually, just a bit slower, but it should push on a bit more now with the more daylight hours. But if I get it out of the pot and the roots want to push, they want to grow, they should push their way out, and then we'll see what happens. Down here, those are all my other Miltoniopsis apart from the one that's in flower. So some are okay, some are not. I mean, this is obviously not a good plant, but it is actually starting to grow some roots. But you know, various stages. This species just doesn't do well for me. It just keeps losing bulbs. They keep rotting. But then it does have several little new growths. We'll see. It may make it, it may not. And then that's the Brassia hybrid and Cymbidium that was just put over there because it's a tall shelf. So once it had finished flowering. Over in here we've got some more of the wet trays, and this is Masdevallias and Draculas. The little Dracula Bella, which we started a project on that, and was going to film it every so often. It's pushing up a new growth now, and it's got to come out of this pot eventually, and I'm thinking like the production of a new growth leaf possibly coincides with some roots, so now might be a good time to get it out of that pot, because it's just in seedling mix in a closed pot. I can't see how wet it is. Now obviously they like to stay permanently damp, they don't like to dry out at all, and being a seedling it should never dry out, but I can't see what's going on in that pot. So that'll be another work in hand. So that's that. And then up here, these are all cotyledons in various stages. Some are relatively recent divisions with new growths pushing on. Some are mature plants, mother plants effectively. So there's a variety up here. And then up here are the rest of the cotyledons. I've only got one left in flower at the moment, and that's going to finish soon. And then we're into growth. I don't know whether Insa watches a whole video or not, but he asked me about his cristata. Let me just get this down. I should ought to put a comment on his video really, but I haven't been leaving comments anywhere lately. I haven't even been answering my own. I just put hearts on them to show that I've read them. Yes, this is my cristata, and you're going to come out without pulling the whole plant out of the pot, so I should be using 2 hands really. Right, so those are my spikes that have finished blooming, and you know the thing that makes it a spike is that plaited look to the base of the growth effectively. That's how I know that was a spike. Now those spikes grew in the growing season last year, and then they stopped. and they went into winter as effectively dormant flower spikes, and then they came into bloom, whatever it was, 5-6 weeks ago, when effectively 3 or 4 weeks before they're due to bloom, they start to grow again. So they stall, then they start to grow again, then they bloom, and then effectively they die back. And down at the bottom, that's a new growth. There's probably one over here as well. It'll be behind that sheath. But that one's just poking through. That is a new growth. Now, when they start from the same sort of place on the bulb. The difference being that the flower spikes tend to stick out the side of the bulb relative to its direction of growth, and the growths tend to follow the direction of growth if you're only going to get one. If you get two, then they will split. But they still don't come out the side, they still come out sort of, you know, like that, like a V shape. So that is definitely a new growth, and the best way I can tell is the time of year. Yeah, that's got to form a bulb to then hopefully be able to produce a spike towards the end of the growing season to go into winter and remain dormant until it's time to grow on and bloom. So that's the sort of cycle that I've seen on mine. My worry here is that my two latest bulbs that have bloomed not only have no roots, but they've climbed up the edge of the pot. So that now needs work done. Not today, but that needs work. So we're going to have to get that out of the pot and deal with that one. Oof! Get it back up there. And then hanging off the side here that I didn't mention is my Dendrobium Victoria Regina that will not grow. This is a newish plant that I bought and added to the mount. The original plant is down here, there's no sign of life coming out of that. And then up here, at this point, is a kiki on this plant that I planted. I put it on the mount in some moss to see if it would actually grow. And I've just noticed there's a tiny little bit of green at the base. And that is the only sign of life at the base, any of the bases on this plant. These two canes on this bit are actually growing, but they're not hydrating properly. So the leaves are crinkling. I've had 2 or 3 of these, maybe even 4. I just cannot get them to survive long term. I mean, I've had one this one has bloomed every year for the last 3 years, but it won't grow. It blooms, but it won't grow. That's opposite to what a lot of the other stuff's doing. Right, that's it. So that's Sunday done, and that's all I'm doing. Thanks to all the people who support the channel. I've got new members on YouTube. Those have been added to the roll call at the end, and thank you very much for joining. That's bumped the number of members up to 20 now. It's been hovering around sort of 14, 15 for a very long time. It went up to 16 for a bit, now we're up to 20. But in amongst the 20, we've had 1 or 2 leave. We've also had 1 leave on the Patreon site. It's understandable when these things happen, I don't worry about it, but I'm very pleased when new people join. So thanks for that, and thanks for all the support for the channel in whatever form. It's greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in whatever I manage to do during the week, and bye for now.